Hello everybody, it's me, GhostCritic. It's QOTW Day, question of the week. This time we're talking fighting. A lot of you will probably remember the story when Muhammad Ali took on Superman in the ring. I'm not going to take you to the boxing ring, but I am going to take you instead to a wrestling ring. We're going to have a tag match. I want you to let me know down in the comment section below a tag team match between superheroes and supervillains. So we want a team of heroes, 2 people, a team of villains, 2 people, or you can mix and match. You can have heroes versus heroes, villains versus villains, heroes versus villains. Basically, pick 2 characters from each camp and have them fight off against each other. And who would win of the 2 teams and how? So strap on your sparkling shorts, get ready with your biggest grand face, and let me know down in the comments section below. Now this week I'm doing something a little different, which will become explanatory in the next part of this video, but to anybody who asked a question last week for me, that will get answered, I promise, in next week's video. If you have any more questions you want to ask me that are kind of comic book related or pop culture related, pop them down in the comment section below as well, along with your answer to my question of the week. But for now, something a little different.
Who are you?
So yes, I was tagged. I kind of avoided these videos because it's been doing the rounds. I just didn't want to hear my name being mentioned and tagged. So if you have tagged me, then well done, you're getting it anyway. But MrSuperONeill, he tagged me. He sent me a message as well just to let me know, make sure I was going to answer these questions. So, here we go. My name is Mark. Now, I've answered this question quite a few times, but the main time I answered this was when we had a kind of, I guess, a tag video going around about our history with comics. So I don't really want to go over that because it was quite a long video. I'll put a link in the description bar below to that video if you're one of the few that still haven't seen it. But comics have always been a part of my life. It might have taken breaks at time for whatever reason, but they've always been there. I guess I started collecting I collected a lot of British comics when I was younger, sort of like in my very early teens, and I used to have them all piled up in a corner of my room. But I guess if we're talking American comics, there was a time when I was in kind of my teens where there would be this kind of flea market type hall that I go to practically every Saturday, and they would have, you know, boxes and boxes of old comics, and they had a lot of the kind of Marvel team-up books, and you know, I just thought, ooh, 2 superheroes for the price of 1, couldn't get better than that, and I had a lot of those. Unfortunately, somewhere down the line they got sold, and to keep me alive in my college days, I guess, basically. But comics have always been there in my life. I guess the first comics that I started collecting, strange enough, were Marvel stories, and I'm talking properly collecting. I kicked off on the X-Force, the very first volume. I remember collecting those. These questions are hard because I've got such a short-term memory span. I remember collecting Spider-Man when McFarlane came on it. That was one that I remember collecting for quite some time. Because when I first started collecting comics properly, there weren't many places where I lived that I could easily get comics. I didn't know about pull lists. I just basically went to this place that I could get comics from, and if it was in the box, I would buy it. There was no next month there was the next issue. I had to get there really early to the place to get the next issue without it being sold out. Okay, TV show is difficult. There is so much good stuff out at the moment, and I'm suddenly, very recently, I've become a complete TV addict, and I've been lapping up all these new American TV shows like Hannibal, The Killing, obviously Game of Thrones. I've kind of left Walking Dead quite a few seasons ago. I might have to start watching that again. But if we're talking all time, it's almost a tie between Buffy the Vampire Slayer and the X-Files. But I think for me the X-Files just gets in first because it just embraced everything I was into at the time, and still am to some extent. I love the whole aliens, the overarching storyline that went through all the seasons. I even like the dodgy ones towards the end when Fox Mulder, David Duchovny left. I still enjoyed those. Buffy has always had a very close place in my heart. I remember just going through kind of like, probably a bit too old to watch it really, but you're never too old really. But every season of that, no matter, you know, again, it had its kind of really awful, I think it was 6th season, but I watched them all and I still love them, and I rewatch them and rewatch them. Cartoons, much easier. My favourite cartoon was always Dungeons and Dragons. When it came out, I was massively into the fantasy genre. I read so many books, whether it be Tolkien, Terry Goodkind. I'm trying to think of some more I used to read. Is it Robin Hobb? I think it is. The Wheel of Time saga, really loved that. So Dungeons and Dragons, it had everything that I loved about the fantasy genre in cartoon form. So yep. No, I don't have any pets. I live in the United Kingdom, Great Britain. I'm not actually a breakfast type of person, and if I do, it kind of goes from one extreme to the other. I'll either just have kind of toast and coffee, or I'll go for the full English breakfast: sausages, bacon, hash browns, mushrooms, tomatoes, fried bread, you know, the works. So cereal, I don't really get cereal in. Living on my own here, I don't like to buy, you know, big boxes of stuff because it won't get eaten and it'll go off and it'll be a waste of money. My birthday is actually fast approaching. It's in September. Oh yes, I have a phobia. Just thinking about it now creeps me out. It's snakes. And there is a story behind this. When I was very young, probably about 7 or 8 years old, we went to a kind of seaside town that had like a promenade on the front, and it was called Blackpool. And as you were walking down the kind of like the thoroughfare, there used to be like stalls and people wanting you to take photos with monkeys and things like that. And there was this one guy with a huge kind of yellowy white snake. It was massive, it was thick, it was long, and I was just kind of a little bit ahead of my parents, kind of walking ahead of them, and this guy just grabbed this snake and put it around my shoulders, so it was like hanging down there. I freaked out. I was if I hadn't had my wits about me, I would have probably just frozen there and just screamed. But instead, I kind of threw it off my back so it fell on the floor, and I ran like a mother down the street. Oh my goodness. I don't know how far I'd ran. I kind of ran around the corner and just kind of crouched against a wall, kind of shivering. And since then, I have never ever liked snakes being anywhere near me. I can't even watch Snakes on a Plane. I can't even watch that film. That would be my ultimate nightmare. So GhostCritic, where did it come from? Well, it was originally my Twitter handle, and obviously still is. And I never anticipated using my face on there, so I was going to be pretty anonymous, and that's where the kind of the ghost part came from. And then the critic part, obviously I was going to critique films, TV in 140 characters or less. But then obviously YouTube came along, and I guess I kind of wanted to brand myself in some aspects on my internet life. So I mean, if you Google GhostCritic, you will find me on all sorts of websites. Some of them out there are not me, by the way, but a lot of them are, and that's just the name I stuck with, and it's done me pretty fine till now, I guess. So there we go. Now you know a little bit more about me. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you to whoever made up this tag video. I'm not sure who it was. Thank you, I guess, to MrSuperONeill for tagging me. And I will see you next week. Don't forget to answer the question of mine right at the very top of this video. Ask me some pop culture, comic book related questions as well, and I'll see you next week with another QOTW.